Hey folks, welcome to Bliss by G Beats, and I am the G. And today, I just want to say thank you to my 25 subscribers. Let's go.
Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him.
Hey folks, welcome back to Bliss by G Beats. I am the G, and once again, I would just like to say thank you for my 25 subscribers. And you may think I'm being funny, but I'm actually being for real. Because one of the things that I've learned, and one of the things I want to talk about in this Motivation Monday, is that YouTube is hard. YouTube is hard. I was looking at my channel, and I started this channel July the 22nd of 2019. And let me tell you something. These 25 subscribers, they have been very hard to come by because, and it's been very eye-opening for me. And it's made me really think about whether I want to continue to do YouTube or not, because a lot of times, we got a lot of people, they got into YouTube when people really wasn't thinking about it on this level that most people today. You can go to schools on career day and you got kids in elementary talking about they want to be professional YouTubers, because most people look at people on YouTube and they think that everyone's making it. They find someone that's got 1 million subscribers and, they look at the PewDiePies of the world and the Peter McKinnons and other people. They think they're going to do this. They think they're going to drop a video and they're going to go viral. There's a reason why there are thousands of videos on YouTube about how to go viral, but then you see very few videos going viral. And I think the reason is a lot of times I don't think people plan on going viral. I think it just happens. You just happen to do something that people like. But YouTube is hard work. And YouTube hasn't helped us out any in the sense of raising the needle. And I don't want to say they haven't helped us out. I think they've helped us out in this sense that if you want to make money on this platform, you better make sure that you're going to be committed, because it's hard. Because now just to get monetized, you need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watched hours, 240,000 minutes, that is basically. So when I look at my numbers, I'm basically 975 subscribers away from getting the 1,000 subscribers. And if I've been doing this for 3 months and I've only got 25, man, who knows when it might be when I get 1,000, even though I truly believe that the persistence is going to pay off, because I've always heard and now believe it. The first 100 subscribers on YouTube is hard to get. And also, you think about, I have 3,961.2 hours to go before I can get monetized. Man, I have 1,500 views. I want to say thank you for the 1,500 people that have visited my channel and watched some of my videos. But I am realizing something, that it is hard. YouTube is hard because it takes time, it takes commitment, it takes an investment, and it takes patience. And so I'm going to talk about all 4 of these, not necessarily in that order, but I think I'm going to talk about time, because I think time goes without saying, but I'm going to get back to time. But one of the first things I want to talk about as far as it pertains to YouTube, man, it requires an investment. And if you see me kind of looking over here, I kind of got my notes on my iPad right here. But I want you to understand, YouTube requires an investment. It takes an investment of your time. As I told you, I'm gonna come back to time. But YouTube takes an investment of money as well as time. Money as well as time. Because you need equipment to get started. And I'll weave some things in and out of here as far as equipment goes that I've, kind of collected over the years. But man, I have been kind of getting equipment for the last 3 years, here and there. Because I'm one of these people, don't be like me. I'm one of these people, I want everything to be perfect when I do it. And I'm realizing you don't have to be perfect when you start it. What you want to do is you just got to make sure that this is something that you want to start, and you can get better. You can get better as you learn better, but you want to start off with some basic equipment. And so you're going to have some equipment. If I was going to do it all over again and with today's technology with smartphones, I would probably start off with a smartphone. Let me know if you'd like for me to do a video, put some comments down below. If you would like me to do a video on how you can make a beat making channel today with just a good smartphone and maybe $125 investment in equipment. But, either way, you're going to have to invest, and a smartphone isn't cheap. I mean, if you want one that's got a pretty nice camera, you're probably going to have to spend somewhere. If you can find them on the used market, you may find them for $150 to $250. Or if you want to get something a little bit more up to date to where I think it would probably be advisable if you can do it, you want to probably get something up to date so you don't have to worry about buying anything for the next 2 to 3 years. But man, let me tell you something. People are upgrading phones all the time. You might find someone that has an iPhone laying around and they might want to get rid of it for $100. So I would probably start with a smartphone, but either way, you're going to have some equipment and the accessories. When you talk about equipment, man, that's what gets you. You get the camera. Well, then you got to get the things that hold the camera. You got to get the you got to get the tripod. You got to get maybe a cheap light, and you got to get a cheap microphone. There's all kinds of things. You're going to have to make an investment. You're going to spend some money. And you're going to find out the more money you spend, the less you're going to get in return. I think it's called diminishing returns, especially as you step up in equipment. You're probably not going to step up as much in quality as you think. And that's why I say for me, I would definitely start with a smartphone, cheap light, and a nice little Rode Micro or the Rode Video Go. I think that's the one I have. I would start out with something like that, but you're definitely going to have to invest in equipment. Not only do you have to invest in equipment, you're going to have to invest in software. People don't think about this stuff. You have to invest in software. You have to decide whether or not you're going to go professional with Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro 10. Whether you're going to go with some of the cheaper Magic Studio or Vegas Studio, Movavi, there's plenty of them out there. And if you're going to go the smartphone route, there are some really good smartphone editors. And don't get me wrong, I'm not an Apple fanboy, but the reason why I switched over to Apple is because if you're a content creator, Apple is the best. The phones are not the best, the pads are not the best, the computers are not the best, but the software is. I mean, so for me, when I switched over to Final Cut Pro 10 from Adobe Premiere, man, I started pumping out videos like that. So, but nevertheless, you got to decide on the software. That's going to cost you money. That can go upwards from $20 for LumaFusion on a phone or a pad, all the way up to a subscription on Adobe, which I didn't want to do. And I got me a Mac. I got a 2012 MacBook Pro. Someone had upgraded with a couple of SD drives and had 8 gigabytes of RAM. And it runs way better than anything I ever did on PC. But nevertheless, you got to make investments, equipment. You got to make investments on software, and you got to make investments on lights. You got to make the investment on lights. It's like I said before, if it's a cheap light, but on top of all that investment, you have to invest in learning. And the learning goes into the time, because in this business or in this game, you have to learn on the fly. You got to be making videos while at the same time watching tutorial videos, getting better at what you want to do, so that basically you're putting out videos and you're learning and getting better at the same time, because you don't want to wait to me. If you want to do YouTube, and I'm going to get to this in the latter part, but if you want to do YouTube, go ahead and do YouTube and get started with what you have. Get started with what you have. Learn the equipment. Because with the cameras, you're going to have to learn ISO, exposure, and all of these things. It's all a part of the investment, the learning. You have to really get into this stuff, and you're going to find out that you're going to be doing more than whatever it is you're doing on your channel. You're going to be doing way more than that, because it's going to just take for you to do that. And you find out a lot of times, especially in the beginning, you're a one man or one woman show. So this really requires a commitment. It really does. It requires a commitment and an investment. And once again, it's a commitment to time, because you're going to find out that you're going to be doing a lot of stuff by yourself. You have to even make graphics. Got to buy software again. If you don't want to do the subscription service to Adobe, which I'm kind of getting away from, you may want to try Affinity Photo. You may want to try Affinity Photo. I kind of got that on the iPad, and I'm starting to get into Affinity Photo because I want to get away from the subscription services simply because, which I'm fortunate, I'm a full-time student, so I don't have to pay for it. It comes free with the school I go to, but it gets expensive. So you want to have as least expenses as you can, especially in the beginning. But nevertheless, you're going to have to make an investment in this. And I want to come back to the time, because now we want to talk about the time and the patience thing. The time. You got to schedule. You got to schedule when you're going to do videos. And you got to think about this. If you're a teen or an adult, you're looking at a couple of different things. Well, when do you have time to do it? When do you have time to do YouTube? If you are a parent or an adult, even without children, if you're a parent and married, or you're someone with children, or even if you're single and you have a job and you go to school, nevertheless, you got to figure out when you're going to do your videos. You got to come up with a schedule that works. Like me, I'm off on Mondays and I work from home on Wednesdays. So I've allotted those 2 days to say, this is when I'm going to film 3 to 4 videos per day on those days. And then I'll go back and edit those on those other 3 days, or the other 2 or 3 days in between. I'm going to go back and edit the videos, and you got to find time for editing, find time for shooting, find time for editing. So it's a very time consuming thing, you know, and you got to figure out the times. Am I going to do it late at night when people are asleep? Well, if I do it late at night when people are asleep, I'm going to need headphones, and then I'm going to need a space where there's a room. You know, I'll show you, but the place where I'm in right now, I mean, I don't have a dedicated room like I had once upon a time. And I think to do YouTube, it would be great if you could have a dedicated room so you can leave everything set up. Like me, one of the problems I have is I always have to set up, break down, set up, break down. And sometimes I want to do a video, but then I don't feel like putting everything up. And so, you know, I got a closet where I keep my equipment and a trunk where I keep my equipment in the living room, and it gets a little tedious, but you have to figure out the time when you're going to do this, and when are you going to have time to set up? Are you going to do it early in the mornings? Or, you know, if you're a kid at home, a teenager, you know, you're going to have it in your room. You may have to figure out ways to do videos while people are at home, set up in a garage or something like that. But you have to work it around. You know, if you're married, you have to work it around family time, you know, work it around homework, you're a student. It's so many different things that you have to be worried about. The time, the place, like I said, like me, I'm in between the living room and the kitchen. You have to have a place to have all this stuff. And as I say, I think it would be great if you could have a place you could always leave your stuff set up, because then you can just sit down and do videos. You just sit down and get busy. But it's a lot that goes into it, man. And you have to get into planning. You have to get into planning when it comes to time. You not only need to plan out when you're going to do your videos, but one of the things that I've really learned is you have to also plan out your videos, write notes on what you're going to do, kind of like what I've done here with my iPad, but you have to write down notes, you have to brainstorm and kind of figure out maybe where I want to do B-roll and all of these different types of things. You have to, you really, people don't understand, but YouTube is really a job. It's hard. And I admire people who can pump out 2-3 videos a week, especially when you look at some of the, once you learn a lot of what goes into making videos and you see what people are you understand what people are actually doing, man, people do not understand what goes into this. You have to plan, you have to write, you have to come up with, it may not be a verbatim script, but you need some form of outline to know kind of what you want to speak on and know, like I said, know what you're going to do and where you're going to insert B-roll and things like this. And finally, you're going to need patience, because the thing that's the most important is the content. Content is the most important part of doing all of this. You have to buy You have to make the investment with, the equipment. You have to invest your time. You have to be committed. You also have to stay up on your craft. Like if you're making a beat making, like me, a beat making producing channel, and I'm going to be sprinkling in video, how to make videos and just all kinds of stuff, music. You have to stay good at that. You have to stay good at the content, because I've had people ask me, well, how do I start? Because they've seen me start and it's kind of inspired them to start. And they'll be like, well, how do you get started? Well, to me, the first thing you have to get started with is the content. It doesn't matter if you learn all this stuff and you don't have the content to put up. And you have to get the content, because the content will get your audience. And, you always have people to say, well, you got to find your niche. And that's cool and all. I think it's cool if you have a very focused channel, but I think it's kind of what comes first, the chicken or the egg. I think that you have to just, whatever it is you do that well, and just start trying to get some kind of audience. And then as you get your audience, like right now, I have 25 subscribers, and I'm realizing that the videos that are getting the most play are the videos where there's actual videos like me talking or instructing or saying something, rather than just the beat videos. Because the beat videos, people will play that to the intro, to the verse, to the chorus, to the verse, and they're done. That's only like maybe 1 minute. And if you're people only going to be playing your videos on an average of 2 to 3 minutes, well, it's going to take you a long time to get 240,000 minutes or 4,000 watched hours. It's going to take a long time. And a lot of people don't subscribe necessarily to just people who make beats very quickly. I think that takes a lot of time. I think once you catch on, it catches on, but it may take you longer if you're just doing beats. So you got to get an audience. And then you got to figure out what the audience wants, what kind of content they want. And then you got to cater that content. You got to create the stuff that the audience likes. You got to look at your analytics. You got to look at your analytics and pay attention to, where do they stop watching your video? How much of it are they watching? So you can figure out, well, am I interesting, and what can I change to make people watch that video more? And so finally, we have to be patient. I'm going to close with this thing about time and patience once again, because you got to put in the time. But when you put in the time, you got to be patient with the time you put in, because just because you put in a lot of time don't mean you're going to have a lot of return in the beginning. So you got to have patience to not only let yourself develop, but to let your channel develop and let it catch on. And you have to upload on a regular basis. Don't come in this thing, man, talking about I'm going to do 1 video a month. Well, you might as well not even start, because you will never get in the YouTube algorithm if you're only doing 1 video a month or 2 videos a month. And well, I just want to you would better serve yourself is to get your content ready, get whatever it is, get good at it. And when you got the time, start putting out videos on a consistent basis. And I've been hearing now that the magic number is probably 2 videos per week, 2 videos per week. And I don't know, for me, I think if you're brand new to the game, I don't think that 3 or 4 videos would hurt you a week either, depending upon what your setup is and how simple it is. Like my setup, and I've probably have shown it now during the B-roll. My setup is a very intricate setup. And I think I'm going to do a video on that eventually, but it's a very intricate setup. But if you're the person that's got the smartphone and maybe a light, to me, and you're only doing 1 angle, because I can do 2 angles. I didn't do it today, but I can do 2 angles. But if you're that person where the setup is simple as a smartphone, a light, and a microphone, and you can shoot and go, if you can pump out high quality videos, high quality content, high quality sound, do it 3 to 4 times a week. I'm even thinking about going on a binge and just say maybe in either November or December, do a video, 30 videos in 30 days, just to get that content built up on my channel. So when people come, early next year, there will be playlists. There'll be a lot of content, varied content, that there'll be things that maybe they can kind of latch on to, and I can get more of a snapshot of what people are looking for. But I'm telling you, man, I want to motivate you to understand, though, YouTube is hard, but guess what? Hard work pays. Anything worth having, you're going to have to work for it. A lot of people think they can just step on this thing and it's all good. It's a viral video and I'm getting paid. No, I figured out something. YouTube is one of those platforms now that if you want to do it, then you obviously want to do it. And so take all of these things that I have put in, and take all of these things that I've said. And if you want to start YouTube, take all those things in consideration and understand, man, YouTube is hard. You got to be committed. You got to be, you got to invest time, money, and then you got to be patient. But I am positive. I'm very positive that after 25 subscribers, and I don't even feel like even though I've grinded, I think about things that I could have done and things that I want to do and didn't do. And now I kind of got a pretty good workflow. Kind of got a good hold of what I'm doing. And now I'm starting to pump out more and more videos. I got like two in the chamber. And after I'm done with this video, I'm going to film a couple of more. So I'm kind of getting it to the point now to where I can have my content ready to go every single week in advance so I can be working and posting. But nevertheless, I believe I'm going to be successful because I think the persistence and the patience is going to pay. And so for you, if you want to start YouTube, YouTube is hard, but if you commit, put in the time, and you're persistent and you're patient, it's going to pay off. So once again, that's my time. I hope I wasn't too long. I was trying to aim for 10 minutes, but man, when you get to talking, man, it just goes. But I think this is very informative. So if you like what you've seen, you know what to do. This is Blessed by G Beats. I am the G. As I always say, keep grinding, keep inspiring. And until the next video, peace.